got a press release that Sutton Elementary School had this low-power FM transmitter that they were using to broadcast school announcements and stuff, and that the kids were actually doing the work. And so I said, yeah, I got to meet these children and see. And then I found out that they were using Audacity as their recording suite, which is something I work with every day. It's freeware. Anybody can download it, Audacity, and learn to be a multi-track recording artist. And I've worked with this software for many years. It's how I produce parody songs and all kinds of other skits and stuff for the show. So I wanted to be able to take a few minutes and just show the kids how flexible Audacity is and how many different things you can do. So I showed them how to change the pitch of your voice. I showed them how to create multiple impressions of the same waveform so that it sounds like instead of 6 or 8 kids, it sounds like there's 30 or 40 kids. And we actually recorded the Pledge of Allegiance. And I showed them how to use compression and the amplify feature. I showed them how to edit and do a lot of the things that Audacity will do.
Taught us about stuff that I didn't know you could do on Audacity. We use it to play announcements and news on 101.1 FM. He taught us how to change the pitch and how to take stuff out if you don't like it, and add different words. If you're kind of shy, you won't have a lot of you won't sound good.
I love the energy that comes with a room full of kids. There's these bright, inquisitive minds. There's this sense of great energy from just youth and exuberance, and they love discovery. They love discovering things, and I think I hope I still have that. But I know that children just they're crazy about discovery, and so when you can show them something new, you get great energy, and there's a whole lot of love in the room, and I love that. I'm crazy about it. It's nice to know that these kids appreciate the amazing world of technology that they live in, and the fact that this school is replete with Macintosh computers and headphones and gear and software, and these kids are learning stuff. It's just tremendous. I'm so in awe of Owensboro Public Schools and the atmosphere of learning that they've designed for these kids. I am a radio DJ. I have been performing on radio since about 1981. I started out in this business in Louisville, Kentucky, and worked for 2 radio stations there before I was invited to come to Owensboro and take over the morning show on what is now referred to as Hot 96, but for a long time we called it 96 STL. And I did that morning show for 15 years. When I left radio in 1998 to open a satellite TV marketing company, sold Dish Network products nationwide. While I was doing that, I had the opportunity to go to work for Fox TV on the Speed Channel and produce and host and write a motorcycle show. And so I traveled all over the country every weekend, riding motorcycles and making a TV show. There is a company here in Owensboro called Cromwell. It's out of Nashville. They have 4 radio stations in Nashville. We have 7 radio stations in Owensboro. There are 25 more stations in the state of Illinois that all belong to this company. And one of the stations that they own is WVJS. WVJS has been part of the Owensboro radio landscape since 1947. It went on the air then. It was an AM station for a long time. Now it's an AM/FM. We broadcast AM 1420 and FM 100.5. And we also have a website and live streaming, so people listen to my show really all over the world because they can get it on the internet. I discovered Audacity about 6 years ago. Here's the story behind Audacity. There's a company called Adobe that's very famous in the world of computers because they design products mostly for artists, graphic artists and recording artists. And Adobe software is really good. It's the video editing software. You use Adobe, I use, and their audio program, which was actually first built by a company called SoundForge, is called Pro Tools. And it's really, really complex. I don't even know how to use it. I've never really tried. Every time I can't even find the on button. So when I found Audacity, I'm like, this is really cool. It turns out the guy who built Pro Tools, while he was building Pro Tools, the software package, he also was building Audacity. And when he had finished the program, he went to his bosses and said, okay, Pro Tools is done, and it's ready for you to market, but you gotta have a college degree to use it. He said, in my spare time, I've developed this piece of software called Audacity. Would you allow me to market it? And they said, no, you designed it on our time. So he said, all right. He put it on the internet as freeware. And so since then, from its original version, Audacity 1.0, it's gone through many changes because there's an entire international community of recording engineers who've contributed to its development. So now we're on Audacity 2.14, and you guys have one of the latest versions. This was downloaded in October of last year, so this is probably the newest version of Audacity. Now the cool thing about Audacity is if you have a computer at home that's connected to the internet, you can have Audacity. You can download it onto your computer. It's free. Just search Audacity. You can write down the name, take it home, make sure your parents are cool with it. Then you can do the same thing we have here, plug in a microphone, and you can play with Audacity at home. You can see the waveform. That's what we call this. That's a waveform. That is the visual. We can look at the sound, okay? And you can see there's a lot of gray on top of it, and there's a lot of gray on the bottom of it. What does that tell? Yeah, you guys get over here where you can see. What does that tell us? It could be louder, couldn't it? Guess what? We can fix that. I want you guys to watch what I'm going to do. I'm taking the mouse over here to this gray area. Now don't click on the buttons. Just get up here, around right here, and somewhere around here, just left click. What happened? Yeah, that's called making a selection. Now there's another way I could have done that. I could have dragged the mouse. I'm sitting here I've got the cursor just outside the waveform. I left click, and with my finger down on the left click, I drag it sideways. Okay? I have now selected this waveform. Now, I don't have to select the whole thing. I could select a little piece of it, couldn't I? But let's select the whole thing. Now I'm going to go up here to where it says Effect. See this little thing up here on top that says Effect? I left click on that, and it gives me a whole bunch of things that I can do to this waveform. First one I'm going to click is Amplify, right up here at the top. When I click Amplify, it tells me that it can increase the volume of what I just said, 7.7 dB. That's a lot. So I click OK. See what happened? Now there's not a lot of space at the top or bottom, is there? Now listen to it. Welcome to Sutton Elementary School. Now it's louder. There's another thing we can do to it that's called compression. And it's very technical. What we do when we compress is we kind of squash it together in terms of the audio, the sound itself. Like for instance, if you had a big swimming pool, like an Olympic swimming pool, right? And you dropped a pebble in it, and it would make a little bitty wave, wouldn't it? But if it were a tiny little, for instance, like a bucket of water that was not very big, you drop the same pebble in it, it makes a much bigger wave because it's compressed. That's the same thing we do to sound. So leaving the whole thing selected, let's go back to Effect and go down the list to Compressor. Here's the compressor right here. I click on Compress. Now it gives me options. And without getting real technical with you, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compress this at -10 dB at 10 to 1. That's a lot of compression. A little compression would be like 3 dB at 3 to 1. This is a lot of compression. I could do more. I could do a lot more. I could really compress it, but this is plenty. 10 to 1 at 10 dB. I click on this now. Oh, there's another thing I want to show you. What we do in Audacity is called non-destructive editing. I can make a change, and if I don't like the change I've made, I can go up here to this little arrow that points backwards, click on it, and it undoes what I just did. So I'm back where I first started at. Let's look at compress again, because here's what we have. We have a situation where, I want to compress based on peaks. Now watch the waveform when I click this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Now, how do you describe this group? You guys are the
STLP.
the STLP. So if you were to say, we're the STLP class at Sutton Elementary School, does that make sense? Okay, let's rehearse it once. We're the STLP class at Sutton Elementary School.